If you are earning a 4% return, if inflation has increased by 5%, you've actually lost purchasing power with that investment. What's up, guys? It's Ron from Ron Roddy Law, and in this video, I'm going to talk about inflation. We all know that it's bad for wealth creation, but what is the solution? I'm going to offer a best case scenario for a couple different asset classes and ultimately come to the conclusion of what I invest in and why it might be the best for you. Now, everybody's seen a lot of these headline statistics. We know that inflation is up. What does this mean? It means this cost of goods and services has increased year over year. And the reality is that, unfortunately, your wages are not keeping pace with this rate of inflation. So when you go to spend money on rent, when you buy gas, when you're going to the grocery store, when you're traveling, when you're buying air tickets, all of these costs are going up. Some studies have showed 20, 25%, 50% increases in some categories. And unfortunately, your salary is not going up by 50%. You're lucky if you're getting a 5, maybe an 8% raise in this economy. The same is true for your investments. If you are earning a 4% return, if inflation has increased by 5%, you've actually lost purchasing power with that investment. And so I think this is a general problem with fixed income investments, so bonds, different treasury bills and different loan options. Those are going to have a fixed rate of return that actually lose purchasing power at the end of your investment period. On the other hand, you have equities, you have the stock market. I think the issue that I have, and while I do have money in the stock market, I contribute heavily to my 401k, my different IRA, my kids have 529 plans. I invest heavily because that is money on a very long-term horizon that we're talking 10, 15 years, maybe 20 years until I need it. For my monthly investments, for my annual investments that I'm putting away 1 to 2 or 300,000 a year, I'm putting them in an inflation resistant asset. And what I mean by that is a hard asset that has the ability to increase its returns if inflation continues to grow. I think a couple of your options here are going to be real estate, gold, commodities, maybe a little bit on crypto. I don't necessarily put crypto in the same category, but I think I should acknowledge it because it's out there and people are going to ask why I didn't address crypto. So let's talk about real estate. I like real estate the most because you have the ability to set rental rates on an annual or maybe every 3 or 4 or 5 years. And the power of that is being able to increase the value 20%. At those lease rental rate adjustments, you can catch up all of inflation. There is no cap on the increases. There is no limit to what this asset is going to be worth in the future. If inflation doubles, the price of hard assets could also theoretically double. There's really no limit to it. On the other hand, you have with real estate the ability to generate more income by spending more time and more attention to those types of real estate assets. And that's where it a little bit differs from the stock market or maybe something like gold. There are very few actions that you can do that can cause Disney to produce more money. I cannot go out there and make Tesla stock higher. Short of shilling for Elon on X, I guess we can go upvote all of his tweets. But other than that, there's very little control. And so for that point, I don't love dumping more money into the stock market. Publicly traded companies are great, but only on a very long-term horizon. I'm not going to do anything that can impact them. Now, I think that gold is the same situation. It is, historically tracked kind of as an inverse, but people are seeing really strong returns and we're hitting all-time highs in gold. So I do like the commodities for that aspect. People are plowing into it as an inflation hedge. It's just in this weird economic situation, I feel, where the stock market is reaching all-time highs, but then gold is also hitting all-time highs just because there's so much capital sloshing around that they're able to sink into both of those investment classes. Finally, I want to touch on crypto. A little bit of background. I used to be a miner. I had GPUs. I had about 30 1080 Ti's. I don't know if that dates me too much. I was mining a lot. I was buying Bitcoin. I sold it. I've kind of transitioned away from the active space, but I do believe that if you are actively staking a coin, if you're actively mining, there are things that you can do to generate an outsized return in crypto. And I just caution whether you want to put a large portion of your net worth into it because it just doesn't have the type of reliability. real estate at the end of the day is where I put most of my free investable cash flow beyond 401k, beyond different savings, primarily because the ability to level the playing field. I think that as inflation is growing, it's only going to exacerbate this wealth divide. You have rich people who own assets and you have everybody else who doesn't. And I think that owning real estate is the only attempt that regular people have to kind of level the playing field between the ultra wealthy and everybody else. And so I think when they see that inflation is coming, they want to divert more of their assets into hard assets like real estate, gold, that sort of thing. And so that's really it. I mean, that's my conclusion. If you're interested in more investing in real estate, check out my channel. I invest in industrial real estate, any type of commercial asset, but SFR, residential real estate, works well. Multifamily apartments are one way to protect you from inflation. So hit that like button if you're still there. Hi, Mom. You're probably the only one watching, and we'll see you next time.